I am Christopher Griffin, aka Plant Queen, and today we are going to go into the homes of some fabulous celebrities to see how their green girls are thriving. I'll be offering some plant parent tips so that we can take our lush little garden to the next level. First up, let's talk about succulents. In a lot of these open door episodes, we see wonderful examples of succulents and cacti. Now we are in the home of Nyjah Huston.
Right here we got the guest room for any of my friends who want to come stay over here.
Nyjah, come on, this is looking cute. Invite me over, okay. The leaves are nice and plump and rich and filled with water. Her leaves look succulent, AKA why they're named succulents, all right? Their anatomy allows them to store water within their leaves, within their stems, within their body mass. And so overwatering is the #1 reason these queens go to the little botanical garden in the sky, honey. So we just wanna be mindful, one, of how much we water them, two, the soil mixture that we use. We wanna make sure that the soil is aerated, light, and fluffy. And we want to make sure that these queens are getting all the sun that they so rightfully deserve. And I mean, if you're looking at this, this green girl, this collection of green girls, they are just growing out of this pot. So Nyjah, you're obviously doing something right, so keep it up, honey. Now we are in the home of the infamous Bretman Rock.
It gets a lot of sun, so I like to put sun-loving plants out here.
Bretman, girl, this is amazing. I love you, girl.
My favorite piece in here would probably be my succulent.
Oh my God, oh. We have a nice, erotic, succulent, that's quite erect.
It's definitely a statement piece.
I see you, girl. This is lovely. So again, I think this is a wonderful way to be creative with how we style and arrange our green girls, while also ensuring that they have everything that they need to grow and thrive. This looked like the succulents are embedded potentially on a wooden plank, and probably have some moss in between each one for the roots to kind of stick to. Bretman, I live in Brooklyn. If you want to send this over to me, it looks gorgeous and lush, and I'm a fan. Moving on to the Fiddle Leaf Fig. So Miss Fiddle Leaf Fig is very popular and can be found in many homes of amazing plant parents, but she does have a reputation of being a bit moody. Let's go into the home of Mandy Moore. Hey, Mandy.
Come on in.
You'll see that she has the Fiddle Leaf Fig in a very bright window, and that is perfection, darling. So Mandy, thumbs up. These queens do enjoy bright light. The only time that you want to watch out for that direct sunlight is when there are little baby leaves beginning to sprout. And so if we look at Mandy's Fiddle Leaf Fig, you'll see at the bottom leaf there's a tiny little hole. That could have been caused by that baby leaf experiencing a lot of sun, which then could have burnt a hole into the leaf, and now there's a hole in the leaf as the leaf matures. That's happened to mine. It's nothing to fret about. And so you just want to be mindful when your green girl is growing those new leaves. You want to make sure that you are watching that direct sunshine and making sure that you're filtering that sunlight, darling. All right, now we are in the home of Maggie Gyllenhaal.
This room is the music room. So you can see there's guitar, there's an amp over there, there's piano behind you.
This Fiddle Leaf Fig looks very healthy. Her leaves are quite large, which is amazing. I mean, this window is just gorgeous. I wish I had a ceiling to floor window one day. The thing I'm noticing right away, and this is just because I am an overwatering queen myself, that is how I typically send, my green girl to the little botanical garden in the sky. Over-watering. There's no tray to collect water at the bottom of this pot, which makes me think that there is no drainage hole. So we have this queen in a terracotta pot, which is my favorite kind of pot because it's made from a porous material that allows the soil to breathe. You'll see that there's a drainage hole right at the bottom of this pot, and that allows for any extra water to escape the soil. We just want to make sure that they're not sitting in water, because if their roots are sitting in water, it's going to cause root rot. And root rot causes the plant not to be able to function properly. Now, just because there's no drainage hole, all hope is not lost, because what you can do, and maybe Maggie went ahead and did this, is place lava rocks at the bottom of a planter that doesn't have drainage holes to allow for the roots in that soil to sit above any extra water that collects at the bottom of the pot. Really invest in plants with drainage holes, and if you are one of those plant parents who are like, I want that expensive pot without drainage, just make sure you get those lava rocks, honey. Let's take a look at Nicole Scherzinger's Miss Fiddleleaf Fig, honey.
And welcome to my house.
One of the things that I'm really enjoying about Nicole's Fiddleleaf Fig is how large those leaves are and how waxy and shiny they are, which means that she has been dusting off those leaves, honey. Our Green Girls leaves allow them to photosynthesize, which means it allows them to feed themselves. If dust is collecting on their leaves, they're not able to soak up that amazing sunshine. So sometimes you can just take a little napkin or a cloth, damp it, and just wipe the leaves off, just to make sure that no dust is collecting on those leaves. I've also noticed that some of the leaves are yellowing and they're a little droopy. Now, this happens all the time. It's a part of that moodiness that I was talking about. It looked like this green girl is experiencing perhaps overwatering. I would remove that Spanish moss from the pot so that the soil can breathe, because these green girls do not enjoy wet soil. They love well aerated, dried out soil. So when you're watering this queen, you want to make sure that you let that soil dry out completely. Add fir bark or perlite to the mix so that it dries out a little quicker. That will allow for those leaves and those roots to be as healthy as possible, darling. Don't mind me, just had to go get little Miss Monstera Deliciosa and bring her to the botanical stage. Miss Monstera Deliciosa is an epiphyte, which means that a mature plant doesn't necessarily need soil in order to grow and serve those lush looks, honey. I've seen Monstera Deliciosas grow completely on the surfaces of walls, not touching soil at all. These are the roots that would latch on to the surfaces of tree trunks or walls or anything of that nature that's surrounding her near environment. So now we have another little lush photo of Bretman in his home, and it looked like he is propagating a Monstera leaf.
I don't know what the f it's called.
Propagation is basically when you take a mother plant, you take a clipping, and you grow a whole new other plant, darling. So I'm gonna bring this queen up so that we can get into her anatomy. All right, how you want me to do this? Can you see this? So right here is a plant node. You wanna cut at least an inch or two below the plant node and place that node in water. That node is eventually going to turn into a root system that then allows that cutting to thrive on its own. So for this, for example, there's no node, right? So this is not going to root. Next time you're in a grocery store and you see a little leaf clipping, all right, and you may get excited, you're like, ooh, this is a green girl that I haven't seen in forever. I wanna root this queen. 9 times out of 10, that particular queen or that particular cutting will not be able to be rooted because there is no node. One of the reasons that I think that, you know, shops do that is because they want you to come back and buy more, AKA capitalism. But that doesn't mean that it takes away from their beauty, and it's okay to treat yourself to a little botanical bouquet every now and then. And I'm sure because Bretman is a plant queen himself, he chopped that leaf with that node intact. And in a few weeks, he's gonna have a brand new Monstera plant. All right, darlings, now we are going to get into hanging plants, all right? Rapunzel, let down your hair, girl. So while hanging plants can come in a bunch of different varieties, this particular queen is the ivy. You see her growing on brownstones in Brooklyn. You see her growing on gates. You see her growing indoors. She's an absolutely beautiful queen and a wonderful example of a green girl that thrives in hanging planters. Let's take a look at some examples. Nyjah, we're just all up in Nyjah's home. Okay, Nyjah, I feel like I know you now. What's good? What Nyjah do?
Nyjah's a skateboarder.
He's a skateboarder? Oh, come on.
This was an interesting design to the house. I always thought it was kind of random when I first saw the house, and then my mom had the idea of putting plants in all of them.
Oh my God, he's a mama's boy. Nyjah! Come on, Nyjah Houston.
Told you I love my plants. So right here's the bathroom.
So we have what seems to be a pothos. She's getting a lot of bright ambient light and is actually really accessible. The pothos is a trailing vine, and there's nothing wrong with letting those vines hang and trail downward. But a fun little thing that you'll notice is that as these vines trail down, the leaves get smaller and smaller and smaller. All right, and there's a reason for that. In the wild, the pothos is actually in the same subfamily as the monstera. Now, what do we remember about the monstera? That she loves to climb, and as she climbs, her leaves get larger. The same thing for the pothos. And often in the wild, the pothos is commonly mistaken for the monstera because the leaves are able to get just as large as the monstera leaf. Again, in the homes of plant parents, it is okay for these queens to trail downward, but if you want her leaves to grow extra large and monstrous, have that queen trailing up a surface or a moss pole. Darlings, now we are going to get into the bird of paradise. Cue the close-up. So darling, we can't bring the bird of paradise physically to the botanical stage. I ain't gonna lug that all the way over here. She's in the background, just majestically posing for us, okay? Now, let's go into the home of Nicole and see how her lush little bird of paradise is thriving.
This is just a really great place to play piano, play around with ideas, and to just let go.
I noticed that she has this plant in a planter that does not have drainage, or what I assume not to have drainage, which is perfectly okay because this queen enjoys more moist, damp soil. The important thing to remember is that you have to get that formula right when it comes to watering. You just want to make sure that this queen soil stays damp and moist, but not soggy. All right, and there's a difference. You'll see that there are multiple stalks or multiple plants in this particular pot. It looks like some of the leaves have been trimmed or pruned, and pruning is a very healthy and necessary thing for our green girls. We want to make sure that we are pruning back any overly damaged leaves, any dried browning leaves, or any yellowing leaves, because damaged, unhealthy leaves attract pests. And honey, we ain't about that life, okay? Now we are in the home of Tan France, and he has this gorgeous bird of paradise in his bathroom corner. Now, bright bathrooms are wonderful places for these particular green girls because of the humidity that formulates. These queens love a sultry scene, honey. It looks like this queen is thriving to the point where she almost doesn't look real. Tan, if you have a plastic plant, I'm going to get you. But, you know, I'm going to give Tan the benefit of the doubt and say that he is a wonderful plant parent and that this green girl is giving her best lush look in this photo, honey. So, darlings, most of the green girls that we bring into our homes are indeed tropical plants. And some of these tropical plants flower, like the bird of paradise with her gorgeous iridescent orange and midnight blue flower. And in order to get some of these queens to flower, you need the right optimal environment that is mimicking her natural habitat. So the average humidity in homes is around 50 to 40% humidity. And these queens need above 60 to 70% humidity to really mimic that natural habitat. If you do want to increase the amount of humidity in your home, there's a couple things that you can do. One of the easiest things that you can do is invest in a lovely humidifier to get that sultry thing going, honey. The second thing that you can do is placing your plants in the shower. Another thing that you can do is grouping your green girls. So all of our plants release oxygen and moisture into the air, and as you group them, it'll increase the local humidity in that particular spot. So, honey, if you are up for the challenge, just increase the humidity levels within your home. Make sure that there's airflow because we ain't about no mold or mildew, okay? And then just make sure that you're giving her the right amount of light to the point where she's basking in that sunlight, but she's not experiencing any sunburn. And honey, you may get this queen to flower. So darlings, there you go. Houseplants are a wonderful way to add life and lusciousness to any space, no matter who you are and no matter where you are in your plant parent journey.